Hey there, everybody. In this video, we're going to be getting into some pre-algebra, in particular, solving equations, okay? Equations, of course, have two parts. They have the part that's got the operation, the adding, the subtracting, whatever. And on the other side is the answer. But also on the other side, or not on the other side, but what separates the two sides is the equal sign. That's why it's called the equation, because one side equals the other side, right? The word equal can sort of be found in the word equation, equal equation, right? So we're going to give some equation examples today and show you how to solve them. We're going to start with the basic ones first and then work our way up. All right, I'm going to start by giving you an example of an algebraic equation, okay? Here's one right now. Okay, I got x plus 3 equals 11. Okay. Now, here's my operation, which in this case is addition. Here is the equal sign, which makes it an equation. Here is the answer, right? X plus 3 equals 11. Now, those of you that are not familiar with this must be thinking to yourselves, wait a minute, why do you have a letter? You sure that's a letter, or is that the letter X, or is that the multiplication symbol? Well, in this case, it's the letter X. And I know that because you can't have a times symbol and a plus sign right next to each other, back to back, unless you have a number in between them, right? That can't be done. So this is the letter X. Why am I using a letter X if I'm dealing with numbers? I thought math is all numbers. Well, in algebra, you're also dealing with letters, okay? And I'm going to show you why. This X represents a number. So technically it is a number, but it's symbolizing a number. What number is it? Well, I can't tell you what that is because X represents what is unknown. This is the unknown number in this equation, okay? What is unknown? It's the mystery number, okay? So what we have to do is, because look, we already know what the answer is going to be. The answer is 11. What we need to do is solve for X, okay? X is the mystery. That is what we're trying to solve. Let me show you how we're going to do that. First of all, I have to look at both sides. And I notice that on this side, I have the mystery number. I have the sign, the operation sign. And I have a regular number that can be seen, that is known. That, of course, is the number 3. Then I've got the equal sign separating the two sides. And on this side, I just have one number, and that's an 11. There's really nothing I could do with that. But I need to simplify this so I could figure out what X is. What am I going to do? Well, I have to remember, simplify means to make it simple, to get rid of clutter, to make things easier to see, right? So I have to get rid of something to make this easier to read and easier to see and figure out. Well, here's the thing. I need the X because I don't know what it is. This is what I'm trying to figure out, okay? The signs have to stay no matter what. You don't touch the signs. They're untouchable. This 3 is being dragged along by the X, right? This is like extra weight for the X, okay? That looks like it might be an issue. Now, this equal sign has to stay because if you're without an equal sign, it can't be an equation, right? So you need the equal sign. This 11 you also need because this is the other side. There's nothing else with it. This is what you need to keep. You can't figure out what X is unless you know what this is. So this has to stay as well. So of the 3 things I'm going to ask you, of the 3 parts of this, not including the signs, which one do you think can be messed with? Well, remember, I need the X because that's what I'm solving for. I need the 11 because you need that to figure out what X is. So what's in the way? The good old number 3 happens to be smack dab in the middle. So I have to get rid of that 3. How do I get rid of that 3? Just make it disappear, right? Well, you'll notice that in front of the 3 is a plus sign. So technically, this is a positive 3, okay? What do I do? Remember, I'm trying to get rid of the 3. I don't want anything there. So what do I have to do to this positive 3 to make it go away completely so that there's nothing left over? Think about it. What do I take away from 3 to get 0? 3, right? I have to subtract 3 from this 3 to get rid of the whole thing. So what I have to do is I have to put the opposite of the plus, which is the minus, and I put a 3 there. Okay? That's going to give me something that I need. But now here's the catch. I can't just do this. Because if you can plainly see, as you can plainly see, this equation has two sides. Which means I also have to do the same thing I just did to the stuff that's on the other side of the equation. Or the equal sign, rather. Luckily, there's only one thing here. So this 3 is going to be taken away from this 11. Okay? So what I did here, I have to do here. The good news is, because they're both regular numbers with no letters next to them, I just leave them alone. And I could just take away the regular number 3 from both sides. Now, I solve. There's nothing under this x, so I just bring it down like I would in any problem. Just bring it down. Pretend this is a 0. Just bring it right down. Now, I got a positive 3 and a negative 3. Guess what? If you got a plus and a minus and the numbers next to them are exactly the same, they cancel out. That's gone. Okay? 0 now. You don't even need to write a 0. As a matter of fact, don't write a 0. It'll make it more confusing. I drop down the equal sign. Now's where it gets fun. 11 minus 3, what is it? 8, right? Hopefully you did some mental math there. 8. So look what I have. X equals 8. So according to this solving, 8 is what x is. Let's see if we're right, shall we? Let's take this 8 and replace the x with it. So if I put the 8 here, and I get rid of this for now, look. Isn't 8 plus 3, 11, right? 8, 9, 10, 11, right? Here's my 3. X equals 8. Okay? You could pause it and write it down if you need to, if you're hopefully following along with it. Okay? All right. Okay. I'm going to write another one now, another example of one like that, in that order. Here we go. Another addition one. Okay, here's my x again. Oh, and by the way, that's the funny thing about algebra. You don't always need an x. It could be any letter of the alphabet. We're just using x right now. I got x plus 5 equals 12. So what do? Right. I need the x and I need the 12 because that's the only thing that's on the other side of the equal. I subtract 5 from both sides. Okay. The x gets dropped down. These cancel out. I put down the equal sign. 12 minus 5 is what? 7. Okay. Now I plug the 7 in just to make sure I'm right. Isn't 7 plus 5 12? You bet it is. So x does in fact equal 7. Okay, you could write that one down too if I was going too fast. Okay. All right, I'm going to give you a different one now. Check this one out. I'm going to use a different letter this time. Let me use Y. Ooh, look what I did now. Not only did I change the letter, I did something else too different. Notice this is a minus. I don't know if you can see or not. That's a minus. Okay? So, I'm dealing with subtraction. But the rest is the same. I've got the letter, the number, and the number. Now I'm going to ask you, based on what I showed you from the other problems, what needs to be done? Well, I have to simplify this to know what y is. So I have to keep the y, and I have to keep the 6, because without the 6, I can't know what y is. So what's the only thing that I could do to eliminate, to make this a little more simple, or to simplify it? What's the only piece that's disposable here? What do you know? It's in the middle again, the 3. Now my question to you is, how am I going to get rid of this 3? Notice there's a minus in front of it. There's a minus there. So what am I going to do? I have to do the opposite sign to get rid of it, right? So what's the opposite of minus? Of course, it's plus. Just like with the other ones, you had a plus and you made it a minus. So I have to make this a plus with the same exact number. Why? Because if you remembered your negatives and positives, the negative plus the positive of the same number always comes out to 0. Always. Remember, we want 0 here. We want to make this simplified. But not only do I do this here, where else do I add the 3? I can't add it to the y because that's not a number. That's a variable. I got to add it to this one. So I add the 3 right there. Now I'm ready to go. I drop down the y. These cancel out. Okay? 6 plus 3 is what? Oh, the equal, don't forget. That's very important. 6 plus 3 is what? 9. So according to this solving, y equals 9. Let's see if we're right. I'm going to plug in the y, or the 9 rather, where the y was. I'm going to erase this so you can see it better. And this says 9 minus 3 equals 6. Is that true? What do you think? Is 9 minus 3 6? You bet it is. So in fact, y does equal 9. Okay? I'm going to give you one more. That's subtraction. Here we go. Let's try. Well, let's do a little bit different one here. Let's do z this time. We'll do x, y, z. Okay. Little bit different now. You notice? This time I have the unknown in the middle. I don't have it at the end like I did before. Because that's the thing with algebra. It doesn't really matter. You can go anywhere. So I got to figure out what the z is this time. Right? All right. I got to simplify this problem. But I could only do that by getting rid of something. Something has to go. Okay? What's going to go? Well, here's the issue. You need the z because that's what you're trying to figure out. You need the 6 because it's the only thing that's on the other side of that equal. Both sides of that equal have to be full. If there were other things here, then you could have the luxury of getting rid of something. But because 6 is the only thing, you can't cancel this out. This has to stay. So it's the only thing that's disposable. It's the only thing in this group that you could afford to let go of. Yes, believe it or not, as big as it is, and even though it's in the front, it's the 14. But how do I do that? Now notice, I have no sign here. Remember, I usually do the opposite. I have nothing here to tell me whether this is a minus or a plus, or do I? Or positive or negative. But don't I, though? If you don't see a minus here, you could automatically know right away that it is positive. So this is technically a positive 14. Okay? So now I do the opposite. I do a minus 14. Right? But remember, I also got to do a minus 14 somewhere else. But where does it go? Would it go under the z? No, because you can't do a number and a letter like that. You can't. It's got to go with its same type of thing, which in this case is another number. So the 14 has to go with the 6. It's going to look weird, but here we go. So minus 14. Now, obviously these two cancel out. Plus and minus, same number. Goodbye. I don't need this anymore because there's nothing in front of it anymore. So it's just a plain old z. Now, drop down the equal sign. Now it gets a little interesting because I got a smaller 6 and a bigger 14. I'm taking away 14 from 6. Well, that really shouldn't mess you up too much because if you remember your positives and negatives, you could solve this. It is possible to solve this. The number is going to be a negative number. It's going to be below 0. So what would it be? Well, you know that you add 8 to 6 to get 14. But in this case, you're doing the negative part of it. So it's going to be a negative 8. So here it says z equals negative 8. And that's all I have left. Now the question is, are we right? Are we right? Let's find out. I'm going to plug in where the z was up here. And I'm going to write it over here so you can see how it fits. Okay? I'm going to rewrite the problem as it originally was. Okay? So I'm starting with a regular 14, good old positive 14. Now, I got rid of this minus because guess what? The minus is with the 8 already. So I don't need to write another minus. I just write in mine a negative 8. That's all I do. So I put a negative 8 right there. So I got 14 minus 8. That's my z, supposedly, right? I do an equals 6. And what do you know? Is 14 minus 8 6? It's got to be, right? So z is, in fact, negative 8. This is the 14. This is the z. And that's the 6. That's the answer. Okay? All right. I'm going to pause this video. Well, first of all, before I pause it, you can copy this if you need to. Okay? Hopefully you've been doing it with me in your notes. You've been following along. Okay? If not, you could always go back and do that. But I'll leave this up for a minute or for a few seconds. Right? And you could always copy it. And, in fact, you could pause the video yourself and copy the rest. Okay? So I'm going to pause the video now as well, and I'm going to give you a few examples that you could work on at home. Go back to your examples that we did today and see if you got them right, okay? Here we go. Hang on. Okay, we're back, and I wrote 4 problems here, very similar to the ones we've already done in the previous examples, that you could copy and work on your own, okay? As a matter of fact, here you go. We're going to go through them really quick. I'm not going to do them. I'm just going to explain to you rather what they are. Here we've got an 8 plus y equals 12. Notice I got the mystery here. I got the other number on the other side of the equal sign, right? In this case, the mystery number, the x plus 5 equals 14, the mystery x is in the front. Got my other number with the sign, equals, and then the answer. Here, I've got a subtraction now. I've got the number, the operation of subtraction with the mystery equals the answer. Here the mystery once again is in the front, another subtraction problem with a number and the equal sign with the number there, the answer. Okay, so these are the 4 that you can work on, very similar to what we've already done. I know I threw in another letter here, T. You know, we didn't use T before, but remember, you can use any letter when it comes to algebra and mystery numbers. So do them the way I showed you in the video, in the earlier parts of the video. Make sure you go through the steps, go over it a couple of times before you get comfortable with it, and eventually you'll get in the groove with it, okay? All right. I hope you found that helpful, all right? If you have any questions, leave them in the comments or contact us with email, and I'll see you later. Bye.